Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a little how-to on how to print and bind a book at home. I know this seems silly, but when I first started homeschooling, printing and binding my own books seemed really daunting and intimidating, and I didn't really understand what tools were needed or how to do it. And so for those of you who are watching this who were in my shoes back then, hopefully this will be helpful to you and make it less scary, because now I print and bind everything and it saves us so much money. There is a little bit of an upfront cost to purchase the materials and the machines to get it done, but it has now been a cost savings since, especially if you have multiple children. Man, what a cost savings. So without further ado, let's talk about what we will be printing and binding. So my oldest is currently using Core Knowledge to learn about computers. They do it by grade level. We are doing grade 1 this first semester because she's in 2nd grade. So we're doing grade 1 this first semester, and then the second half of this year, we're going to do grade 2, and that way she'll be caught up to the grade levels they have for their computer learning program. And then every year subsequently, we will do the appropriate grade and we'll spread it out and do like one lesson every 2 weeks, because it literally is perfect to do one lesson every week if you want to do it in half a year, or if you want to spread it out over the whole year, you do one lesson every 2 weeks. We've really liked it. Now, if you're not familiar with Core Knowledge, it is a completely free curriculum, and I think it's kindergarten to 8th or 1st grade to 8th. I think it's kindergarten to 8th grade that they offer curriculum. Now, we don't use their actual curriculum to do all of our schooling. We're a Charlotte Mason family, but I wanted something that was really good to introduce my kids to computers, but didn't require them to sit in front of a screen. And this fit the bill, and it was free. And so because it's free, you just download the PDF files and go from there. You could theoretically do this without printing it out, but my daughter likes to read the student companion guide, because it's all it's like a story, I guess is the best way to explain it. And I prefer her to have paper in her hand rather than a screen. We do some things on the iPad, but otherwise I really try to limit screen time, so we do this in paper. So we are getting close to being done with grade 1. So we're getting close to starting grade 2, and that's what we're going to print, is the student guide. I leave the parent guide not printed to save some trees and space in my life. And I just use my iPad to do that, or my computer, and then she reads from this. So we're gonna print this bad boy out and then bind it. Now, I take one step further and I laminate the front cover, and then I take a piece of cardstock and laminate that and as the back. And it just allows it to be more durable. I do have a second child that will be using this in the next year or two, so I want it to last. So I just do that for sake of longevity. You do not need to have a laminator to do this project. You can just use cardstock and not laminate it as your front and your back. You know, you don't have to make it fancy like that. But I will show you how I do that as well if you are somebody who is extra like me and wants to make it last as long as possible. So first, let's talk about the tools needed to print the grade 2 version of this student guide. Okay, so first off, by the way, don't mind this desk. This has been through the ringer. I do crafts on here. It's this poor baby. I need to get a new desk. So here's everything I am going to use, and I will show you also the printer we're going to use. So this is the GBC ProClick P50. It is my binding machine that prints the holes, and it is amazing. I know it kind of is a little loud when it does that, but if that's my only con to it, is that it's loud as you do that, but I think anything pushing through paper is going to be loud. I also love the ProClick spines that you can buy that go with it. You can buy normal, regular spiral binding spines, but I like these better because they are reusable. They're like a binder, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit. This is the laminator I have. It's the efficient line. I like it because it can do extra big projects. And then it does have a paper cutter up here. I don't use that because I have my own, but I'll show you how I use that as well. And I'll link everything down below that I can. We have our computer because we need to print out the file that's on there. And then let me show you the piece de resistance. This is our new Epson Eco Tank. My HP Smart Printer finally died, which gave me the reason to go ahead and get this. It was also on sale at Costco. I went with the 285 ET2850. I don't know what you call it. I don't know how you say it. I don't know the lingo. The next one up was, I think, almost $100 extra. And it seems silly because to me, the only big difference that I was understanding from reviews is that the paper loading tray was actually a tray down below. I don't care if it sticks up or if it's down below. That doesn't bother me. This has copying capabilities, so that doesn't bother me. The only other thing I heard was that the other one is a little bit faster when it comes to printing, but it didn't seem statistically significant enough for me to spend an extra $100. And I've been so happy with this. So I'm glad I went with the ET2850, as we're going to call it that. But yep, super happy with this purchase. It is I feel like the printer of the homeschoolers, and I get why, because the color and everything is beautiful that comes out. So let's get the show on the road.
Okay, so I have the file for the Using Computers booklet up. What I like to do first is I print the cover, front and back on its own. I don't print any more of the booklet because, one, I like to use my best setting here because it gives you the best, cleanest color, but it does take a little longer and it uses a little bit more ink, so I like to do that separately. And then I go back and I print the whole rest of the file, the booklet, on its own, not using that best setting. It still comes out great, but just for that front cover, I really want it to be vibrant and bright, clean colors. Here you'll see I'm scrolling down to the bottom of the file. There are quite a few pages on this file that are blank or just don't have any information on that's necessary for me to print. So I unselect those so we can save some printer paper and some ink for my daughter. Then I go ahead and I print the project double-sided, and then we are good to go.
Okay, while the rest of the booklet is printing, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on getting things laminated. I get these Amazon Basics lamination sheets. I think they come in a 100 pack. I'll link them down below. I think it's 100. And it's a reasonable price. They're great. I've been using them for over a year and a half almost now at this point, and I have no complaints. I think they're fantastic. So I take my front sheet here and I put it in one of the lamination sheets. I try to make it even as much as possible all around, but I am going to trim off some of the sides. I'll show you what I use. I use my Cricut paper slicer. I don't know what you call it. To kind of take some of this off. I'll show you what that looks like when I do that. And then I have a piece of cardstock here that I'm going to use for the back cover of my booklet. And I laminate that as well to give it more durability. Again, you don't need to do this process. You can skip this, so don't feel like you have to, but if you want to, there you go. So I'll show you how it works in the laminator. Okay, so I've got my laminator plugged in over here. It's green, so it's ready. It's hot and it's good to go. So first I put one sheet at a time through, and once it catches, see, it's got it, it's pulling it through, I can let go and walk away if I need to. Okay, and now we're gonna put the front cover in. Okay, so now I have my front cover and my back cover. They are all laminated and ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this excess lamination off, because if I don't, it doesn't line up properly with the printed pages. When I bind it all together, it just irks me. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim all that off, and then I'm gonna run it through the binding machine to create the holes for it, and I'm gonna rerun it through the laminator, because once the holes are created, I like to seal those holes back up with the lamination. This is an extra step. Don't feel like you need to do this, but it just makes me feel, again, like I will increase the longevity of the workbook that I'm creating so my youngest daughter can use it too. So let's get this into speed motion. I'm going to be using my Cricut. I don't know what these are called. I will link it down below. I cannot for the life of me think of what this is called. A paper slicer? I don't know. Trimmer? I don't know. Something. But we're going to use it. Okay, so now I have my binding machine ready to go. Again, it's an easy push and pull, and you swipe it forward and you can swipe it back. Underneath, you see all my previous clippings. It's like a hole punch, and you can empty it out right here. This says online that it can do up to 6 sheets at a time. I get thicker paper. I can't remember the exact poundage. I will write it down here if I can find it on Costco, because I get the Costco reams of paper. It's really nice quality paper. So I've done up to 6 and it was fine, but I had to kind of give it a little bit of a push. I like to do 4 to 5 sheets just to make sure I'm not struggling really hard and it's a clean push. But when I'm doing laminated items, I only do 1 at a time just to make sure that the hole punches are correct. So I'm gonna line those up and get it in there, and you'll see me roll it across. Okay, we've got our holes you see right here in action. So I'm now gonna run these back through my laminating machine again, because that cut happened through there. I don't want it to come undone, so I just wanna press it back through the heat one more time to reseal it just to be safe. All right, I'm running these through one more time just to reseal the holes to make sure that that is all good to go and will last me through my second kit. All right, and last one. So one other thing I like about this laminator is on the back here, there is a little corner rounder that comes with it, and it can store in there. So when I do laminate anything that has sharp corners, after I've cut them, I can go ahead and round them out like so. Just so I'm not going to stab my kids with their workbook. Awesome. And then this too, you just pop the back off and you see the little sprinkles in there. You just dump them in the trash when you're done. And then it stores back in there like so. All right, I've turned this off so it can cool down and doesn't burn down the house. Okay, y'all, so we have all the pages printed. I double checked, I thumbed through the bottom corner to make sure all the numbers lined up. So we've got every page printed correctly. No misprints happened. We've got our front and our back already laminated and hole punched and ready to be bound. And so the next thing we need is our ProClick spines. Again, you can use the normal spiral spines. Those are a 1:4 ratio. These I think are a 1:3 technically, but the 1:4 ratio works just fine in these holes. It just means I think it's 3 holes per inch when you see a 1:3, and the 1:4 ratio, which are the normal spirals that you see, are 1:4, which I think means 4 holes per inch punched. Don't quote me on that, but point is, this can work. Spiral binding can work also. I like these though because they're like a spiral binding and a binder had a baby. That's the best way to explain it. So they click. They're a little stiff when you get them out of the box first, but once you kind of like roll them in your hand and you, I don't know how you explain it. You're like kind of just clipping them together. You see what I'm doing? I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, once you get them going, they're good. So they click together. I don't know if you can see that, but it's clicked together. Or you can pull them apart like a binder, and then you can put new paper in if you need to. You can't do that with spiral binding. So I think these are so cool. They're reusable, so it's more economical from a cost perspective, etc. I got 2 different sizes. I'm going to use the 45 sheet capacity size because I think the entire file was 40 something pages, and then we printed it back and forth, back and front, so it'll be well under the 45 sheet capacity, so it'll fit this perfectly. So we've got to hole punch these sheets, and then we'll bind everything and we are good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You can watch as I do it, and I'm gonna speed it up to make the movie magic happen. Real quick, before the movie magic gets going, this has a little groove that you can set your paper in. Make sure you push it in all the way, butt it up against, and then pull it down or up. Just be consistent about it so that all your holes stay the same. And then you, done. All good to go. So let's speed it up now. Okay, that was it, guys. Super fast. I know I sped it up, but like that literally took me under a minute, not even. That's how fast it is. So people are like, oh, it only does 6 sheets at a time. Trust me, it goes super fast. Because the other big bulkier binding things that you have to pull down, they do about 20 sheets, I think, but they're so big and bulky and I don't have a lot of space in my office. So the sleek, profile of this made so much more sense from a storage perspective in my office. So I don't mind doing a few more pulls on this to make the holes to make my books. Okay, so here's the trick, guys. So you have all your sheets, line up the holes, and what you want to do is you just start the first one. Here, I'm gonna lay this down. It's a little tough to do it. It literally just falls onto it. See? It literally just goes right onto it. Then what you wanna do is put your cover down and then your back sheet. And the reason we're putting the back sheet on top is because when we flip it over, it'll hide this binding spine here, right here. So watch. Okay, so now we've got it all on there and we're just gonna click them together. It's super easy. Takes no time at all. There's a special tool that comes with the binding spines to, here, I'll show it to you actually. This guy comes with that box of spines and you're supposed to be able to squeeze and squish them through. I actually find it a lot easier just to clip them by my hand. You can use the tool if you want to. I personally think it takes no time to do this. But if you're somebody who maybe has arthritis or things like that, the tool might be much more helpful. I find it more cumbersome. However, I will say this is super helpful for if you want to undo it really fast. I'll show you really quickly. Hold on. I'm trying to do it so you can see in the screen. So you put it in here and you go, oh, it's because I'm holding this awkwardly. You go like this and it unclips the entire thing quickly for you so that you're not having to push your finger in and unclip it. But here, let me clip it back again. Okay, all of them are clipped. Let's see, all good. Okay, so you'll see here, here's the spine, right? Okay, when we flip it like this, voila, the spine. You like that little line that runs up and down? You can't see it because it's hidden in the back. Isn't that neat? I don't know where I learned that. It was somewhere on a YouTube video, but that was it. So here we go. All together, that took me sub 20 minutes and that included all the printing. And the printing takes the longest. If I had everything printed and ready to go, even including the laminating, it probably would take me under 5 minutes to do this whole book. So super easy. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. You saw how quick it was for me to do that, how easy it is. This saves our family a lot of money. Homeschooling can be pricey if you're not careful. And we use a lot of curriculum materials that are PDF files. So because they're PDF, they're on the cheaper end than you buying a already physical created curriculum. It's cheaper to buy PDF files of stuff, or there's a lot of free things that you can find online, especially in the Charlotte Mason world. There's so many resources that people put out there for free that you can find, but you just need to be able to print them. So yes, there were upfront costs to getting the laminator. We got that a little bit, like a year and a half ago. The binding machine I got about a year, maybe like 8 months ago. And then the printer was a recent purchase. So yes, those things are higher upfront costs. We did it over a year and a half, so we weren't spending all that money at once. But now we won't have to spend any money on any of that stuff moving forward for at least 5 to 8 years. And then the only thing we have to buy is paper, which I get from Costco. It I think is $8 for 800 sheets. The ink on the Epson printer apparently lasts 4 ages, so that is pennies when you're printing. And then laminating sheets, a box of 100 sheets definitely lasted me a year and a half. The first box lasted me a year and a half. And I was doing a lot more laminating then because I had a preschooler. So probably will even cut back on the costs of that as my kids get older. So these are reusable. I mean, I try to make this as budget friendly. So if you're looking for a budget friendly alternative, hopefully this will be something that can help you. If you do have questions about anything I mentioned in this video or anything I did, leave it down in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. If there's any products that I used here that you're looking for, I will link as much as I can down in the description box. So go check those out. And if you are new to this channel and you would love to subscribe because you love all things homeschooling, that would be amazing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.